Okay, guys, I know we're a little late to the party, but video's got to be made. The heavyweight division is still in shambles. Let's go for the four fights. Let's go for the four fights, the four heavyweight fights that happened last night at UFC 321. We had Chris Barnett versus Hamdi Abdelwahab. Chris Barnett's fat. Chris Barnett is criminally fat. He's large. He's really large. And I don't know if you guys watched the fight, but it was tragic. Hamdi was on him from the get-go with the wrestling. Not much finishing ability was shown, but he shows that he has the ability to continue that relentless pace in the wrestling department, which I didn't think he had. But that's going to be a good indicator for him going forward, and hopefully he gets a worthy adversary where he can, I don't know, actually get some hooks in, because Chris Barnett he's so big that you can't even get hooks in once you've taken the back. So Chris Barnett would just lie on his stomach. And he couldn't even get any hooks in. There was a point in the second round, I think, where his shorts started falling down, and his arse came out. Chris Barnett's arse came out. There was a point where they had to they were tucking the fat that he had of his stomach into the shorts and then fastening the shorts, which is just super common these days. And even then, it fell out, and his arse was hanging out for the whole of Abu Dhabi to see. It was a full moon in the Etihad Arena. It's shocking, absolutely shocking. I thought it was the worst heavyweight fight in history, but it was bad to the point that it was good and it was funny, it was amusing, but what we're going to do? Hamdi Abdelwahab wins. Not the most eventful decision, but got the job done. Chris Barnett, I don't know what we do next with him. I really don't. I feel like he's a weight bully in bantamweight. He's 5'9". He's 5'9". I don't know what we do with him, but whatever. We move on to Valter Walker and Louis Sutherland. Unlucky for Louis Sutherland, really unlucky. He was going up against Tarantino. Valter Walker literally has a foot fetish. He's snatched 4 heel hooks in a row now in the first round in the UFC. And now he's just called out Hamdi Abdelwahab as well, after another first round heel hook, like I said. Big step up for Louis, going against the number 15 ranked Valter Walker in his UFC debut. Albeit he was meant to fight Justin Tafa. Justin Tafa. Fight fell through. What are you going to do? So I think he was just eager to get in there, get the UFC gloves on. And he got in there, he put the UFC gloves on. Didn't get to show much of his skills. Valter Walker, again, did what he did best. And he's taken another heel, added that to his resume. It's a shame. I really wanted Louis to win. I'm biased to the UK fighters. Of course I am. British MMA scene. But Louis will be back, and he'll be against somebody who doesn't quite have that offensive acumen like Valter Walker. The chances are he's going to go against somebody a little less skilled than Valter Walker. You'd hope, anyway. I'd like to see him back at UFC London, perhaps, if they return in March. That'd be an ideal time frame. But that being said, Sutherland didn't take much damage, so if you wanted to get in there maybe January, maybe actually wanted to go to Sydney, which would be just before UFC London, that would be ideal. That could be an ideal time frame. But Valter Walker's ridiculous. Not bad. I don't even think he wants ranked guys, so this isn't really great for the upper echelon of the heavyweight division. But Valter Walker needs to be I think he needs to step up as opposed to going and fighting Hamdi Abdelwahab. But we'll see what he does. We'll see what happens. One to keep an eye on. Same with Sutherland. He'll be back. Gelton Almeida and Alexander Volkov. Disgusting from Gelton Almeida. Honestly, disgusting. Sure, control time has to count for something, but not many strikes, and I'll say that loosely. There was not many strikes at all. Volkov was the only one who went in there to fight. Gelton Almeida was there to hold him down, and I'm not saying that as a casual take. If you watch the fight, you'll know what I'm talking about. It was hideous. It was honestly hideous to watch. It was really ugly. Mark Goddard was standing them up countless times. Gelton would just shoot straight away. Volkov had some tricky reversals and had some things to offer, but yeah, Gelton wasn't trying to fight. I think he was trying to hold him down and to accumulate the control time. And for once, the judges, they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all, so they gave it to Alexander Volkov. Some people were unhappy, but the people who actually watched the sport to see damage get done were very happy that Alexander Volkov had a controversial decision, so to speak, go his way after what happened with Cyril Gane in his last out at UFC 310. So happy for Volkov. I'm happy he's in the win column. I feel like he's going to have to wait a while for a title shot, but we'll get on to that next fight coming soon. Stay tuned. So I'm not sure what Volkov's going to do. Does he sit out? Probably doesn't want to. Probably wants to keep the money coming in. But we'll see what happens with Volkov. As for Jailton Almeida, it's hard to see what he offers the UFC from a business standpoint. I know there's a few fighters on the roster like that, but Jailton's stock didn't go up whatsoever. If anything, his stock went low. Sure, losing to Volkov isn't the end of the world, but when you go out there with a game plan like that, Mark Goddard standing countless times, he looked fed up. Mark Goddard looked like he could go to sleep in the octagon and not have to worry about separating them because of any damage or fight ending sequence or situation. So Jailton needs to, I don't want to speak for him or for his coaches, but he needs to assess what he really wants to do in the heavyweight division. Does he want to do damage, or does he want to rely on fighters and not really gain much of a fan base? Totally up to him, I suppose. But Volkov got the win. We're moving on to the main event. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. I thought it was a bad dream. It wasn't a bad dream. I woke up this morning and the result is still the result. Tom Aspinall was poked in the eyes, double, knuckle deep. Why the fuck you booing? And he was poked in the eye twice and he couldn't see. He couldn't see. That they were literally his words in the post-fight interview. Again, a great shame. Aspinall had been out of competition for 15 months. Fought somebody dangerous like Cyril Gane. And everyone's saying that Cyril Gane was piecing him up and Tom took the easy way out. Absolute John Jones shills. No chance. No chance at all. Tom Aspinall looked good. Tom Aspinall, I think, landed 27 to Cyril Gane's 30 strikes. So everyone's pretending that it was like a Cyril Gane 10-8 or 10-7. It wasn't. Sure, Tom Aspinall had the bloody nose. And I know that once you get poked in the eyes and then have the bloody nose, it's hard. It's going to be hard. But Aspinall didn't look out the ordinary. He looked phenomenal. They both look like the two best heavyweights in the UFC and in the world right now. The two most dangerous heavyweights. John Jones, in my eyes, doesn't exist. He doesn't exist in the heavyweight division. He ran from Aspinall. I know that everyone's going to be like, well, he dismantled Gane in much better fashion than Aspinall. But I don't care. I really don't. It sounds like hope, I know it does, and I'm sorry, but Tom Aspinall did not look like a fish out of water there whatsoever. Aspinall looked good, to say that he had so much. I mean, people might call it ring rust, but he'd been out of the cage for a year and a quarter, and he went in there against someone like Cyril Gane. Looked good. I thought he looked good, and then the double eye poke happened, and everyone's quick to call Aspinall the quitter, but they're not quick to call Cyril Gane the eye poker. Sure, it was an accident. I know it was an accident. Cyril Gane looked distraught that it happened. But how do you think Aspinall feels? He'd been out of the cage for so long because there was a fighter literally avoiding him in broad daylight. Comes back after such a lengthy layoff. The whole event's about him. Done in 4 minutes. Another first rounder for Tom Aspinall, sure. You know, consolation prizes and all that. Good for the stat padding that I eventually do when I begin to glaze Tom Aspinall again. I'm very good at that. But it's just sad. It's just really sad. And I hope that they get it rebooked. I do hope they get it rebooked, which is why Volkov may have to wait a little bit. Even saying Volkov's name, because of that fight with Jailton Almeida, is making me yawn. I'm having flashbacks. Ugh. But I hope Tom Aspinall manages to run it back with Gane, because it's left a bad taste in the eyes of. It's left a bad taste in fans' mouths. Dana White has an excuse to not promote him again, because Dana White's done absolutely nothing for Aspinall stock. This has been a people's push for the people's champion. Even when John Jones was the champion, it was all about Tom Aspinall at UFC 309. And now it just seems like the momentum has died a little bit, which is sad. It's really sad, because if anybody deserves the support from the fans, it is Tom Aspinall. And that's not to say that Cyril Gane doesn't, because I feel bad for Cyril Gane too. But yeah, just a very disappointing main event. So my condolences to Tom Aspinall, my condolences to Cyril Gane. I hope they get it rebooked. You could do the heavyweight title at UFC London, you really could. I know that Dana's probably not interested in giving him such a high position, because, you know, he has his golden boys and Aspinall's not one of them, sadly. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles in that regard. But It's a shame for Tom. It really is. And it's a shame for Cyril Gane, because Cyril Gane, great fighter. He'd love to fight him. But now Tom Aspinall knows what it's like to be fingered by an MMA fighter. Knuckle deep in the eyes. Awful. It really is a shame. I tried to explain to my partner how terrible this is, and she's like, well, at least he didn't lose. And I'm like, yeah, but this feels like a loss because of the backlash of the casual fan. Hope he comes back soon. I'd like to think that he didn't take that much damage. I'm hoping that there's nothing too serious going on with his eyes, but hopefully we see him in there soon. Tom Aspinall versus Gane. Run it back. We're still with you, Tom Aspinall. Cyril Gane, sure. Best of luck. Hope you don't feel too bad. Run it back. The heavyweight division deserves lineage and deserves activity. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I hope the heavyweight division clears itself up. Ciao.